From the Ticats Audio Network, this is Ticats Today with Steve Milton.
It's Thursday, May 23rd. This is Ticats Today, and I'm Steve Milton. Well, we've got a smorgasbord of items in today's episode, including Scott Milanovich talking about seeking even more leadership from the core trio of offensive linemen. We'll have a little deeper look into Canadian running back Ante Litre. Keep your eyes on that man. And a brief summary of who did what at training camp today. This was the last power practice of week 2 with a walkthrough scheduled for Friday before the Ticats get their first heavy hitting on Saturday at 2 p.m. Now, there's an interesting start time when the Ottawa Redblacks come into Tim Hortons Field for the first exhibition game for both teams. That's going to be a real contrast in objectives. Ottawa has a bye week in the first week of the season and plays its second exhibition at home next week, while the Ticats play on the road in Guelph next weekend, then fly to Calgary just 4 days later for the important season opener. So this Saturday, the Ticats will use a lot of their potential starters, especially on offense, and then limit the play of as many as they can in their second exhibition game against the Argos. Ottawa, on the other hand, will do the opposite. They'll use all 3 quarterbacks Saturday, including Drew Brown, who is their number 1. Jeremiah Masoli is still recovering from Achilles tendon surgery he had last year. And also not here will be some familiar faces, particularly to Ticat fans, like star receivers Braylon Addison, Jalen Acklin, Dominique Rhymes, Justin Hardy, and former Ticat middle linebacker Jovan Santos-Knox, plus another starting linebacker in Frankie Griffin. Milanovich was mentioning that he spoke with Ottawa head coach Bob Dice last night and told him he wanted to use most of his regulars and those leading the battles to become regulars, but that, as always, will depend upon injuries. Now, you can catch the full post-practice media interviews with Milanovich and all-star offensive guard Brandon Revenberg at ticats.ca. Milanovich and Revenberg are kind of tied together for us today, as the head coach talked about the core group of Canadian central linemen. That'd be Revenberg, center David Beard, and guard Coulter Woodmansey. He's encouraging them to step up and be even more vocal as leaders, and I think they're already pretty good leaders.
They're all such pros. They're so well respected throughout the team that, I want them to use their voices a little bit more. So I'm starting to see that, and, they're kind of slowly working their way into that.
Revenberg, who has missed only 2 games, neither of them due to injury, in his entire 6-year career, says he's welcoming that challenge.
It's kind of the passing the torch, right? It's kind of being passed on to me, and me, Beard, even Coulter Woodmansey's been here going on 4 years now. So it's just kind of trying to create that identity, and it's more or less you try to reflect Hamilton.
We need a nickname for that trio of big middlemen of Canadians, and Revenberg warns us, don't make it the Three Stooges. That trio is part of a long relay team of institutional continuity on the offensive line that exists in all successful franchises. Here, Carl Coulter passed things on to those who followed him, like Marwan Hodge, who was instrumental in helping people like guard Ryan Bombin and center Mike Filer, who in turn taught younger players like Revenberg, who this morning praised Filer for that education.
It was huge, right? Because, just coming from Grand Valley State to here, I knew I was going to have to put in extra time and whatnot, but he was one of those guys that took me under his wing and showed me how to do the right thing, how to practice like a pro, how to prepare like a pro, right? So I definitely give Mike all the credit I possibly can, right? Him, Bombin was around them too. They really helped me out, but they really took me under their wings, showed me how to do it right. That's how it is, right? You stand on the shoulders of those who came before you, you got to pass it down.
Yeah. That power trio, and whoever wins a spirited battle at both tackles, actually, newcomers Quentin Barrow and Brendan Bordner, actually, have been the mainstays there in the past 2 days. They'll be blocking for a couple of hard runners in, of course, James Butler, who's not practicing right now because he tweaked a muscle, and Canadian Ante Litre, who won a Grey Cup with Bo Levi Mitchell in Calgary. Milanovich likes Litre's versatility and said that when the Ticats were talking with him about signing here as a free agent, Litre said that he wanted to be challenged offensively from a schematic standpoint, and he's getting that. Running back, fullback, a smidgen of tight end, and he'll be a major factor on special teams. Litre is intelligent. He's inquisitive, he's fast, and he's big, 6 feet and 229 pounds. Here's his self-portrait of what his game looks like.
My style of play is physical, but I bring a lot of speed to my position. So when you're a young guy, the coaches are always going to ask you, the more you could do, the better, the more you could help. So I've made my career on special teams. Special teams consist of 60-yard sprints while wrestling a man that's normally bigger than you. So that's I've excelled in that department. Special teams is a huge part of my game, and preparing for that prepares you for almost every facet of football. So when we're playing offense, if they need a guy to go run a long route or something, or take a handoff in the backfield, I'm ready to do anything and everything between. So that's kind of what I bring to the table offensively.
Litre also gave us a slight window into what to expect in general from the Ticat offense this year.
I haven't been this excited for an offense in a while. It's a great place to be. And this offense is gonna be pretty special and very unique too. So I can't wait to see what he cooks up.
Without giving away any secrets, when you say unique, what kind of thing? Like in general, what do you mean by that?
I think we're gonna see. I think if you're a Ticats fan, what you're gonna expect to see from us is just something that is bringing back an old school brand of football without abandoning new school concepts, if that kind of makes sense. So you're going to see a lot of bullying on the offensive side of the ball, which I'm really excited for. And I think this is going to be a very challenging offense to prepare for from a defender's perspective, because we're going to be playing it a little bit differently than everybody else will be.
On the other side of the ball, one of the positions that's still wide open and will depend upon the exhibition games is the Sam linebacker spot. Sam, which is on the wide side of the field, is kind of a hybrid position, part linebacker, part strong safety, part coverage back. Carthel Flowers Lloyd, who's played there, will make the team because he's one of the league's best special teams tacklers. But at linebacker, he's battling several newcomers, including Destin Talbot from North Dakota State. In the defensive backfield behind them, Richard Leonard, who's had interceptions the previous 2 days, wasn't in uniform today, and David Vereen, who spent time with Indianapolis and Baltimore in the NFL, stepped in and was looking good. He was on the Ticats practice roster in the latter half of last season and started the regular season finale at cornerback. Mark Milton from Baylor, no relation, took many of the A reps at cornerback. And finally, a few cat's clauses. Remember, imagine those little dots connecting these quick thoughts. So, Hamilton's Jacob Patton, the wide receiver who played for McMaster, has made some excellent catches when given the opportunity. Now, on the sidelines watching him is his high school quarterback at Bishop Ryan, Nick Roberto, who is the Ticats manager of football operations. How's that little Venn diagram? Now, Samari Davis Jr., who played in the XFL with Seattle and under former Ticat head coach June Jones, made a nice defensive play during 6-on-6. That's called Skelly. And the global punters Corey Vedvik and Bailey Flint got a lot of important work in, kicking both with and into the wind. That is a tight competition that all the coaches say is probably going to come down to the final moment, as I've been mentioning all week. That's it today from McMaster. Thanks for listening and watching. And for more in-depth coverage of training camp, please go to ticats.ca/training camp. That's ticats.ca/training camp.
This has been Ticats Today with Steve Milton. Catch it on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.